Dude, 5 years.
5 years.
5 years, man. Trailer Trash finally coming out.
Yeah, I guess it has been a hot minute since I put out uh, a complete project
Yeah.
of any sort.
I mean, it's fantastic, first of all.
Thank you.
Congratulations. As
Thank you.
people will shortly find out. Why the 5 year wait now?
Man, I just think sometimes that's how it goes. As you know, COVID was just kind of a giant, I hate to call it a derail because it put me on another track that it was a much better ride than the one I was on previously. So
released Something's Never Last. What, in February, was it?
it was February of 21, and then, the tornado outbreak happened, and it was like it went from like every individual thought was just like, all right, I got to help my friends, clean their houses up and my community. And then that hit, and then COVID hit right after, and it was like any plans of touring or marketing, all of it was just kind of gone.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of left sitting like, well, now what? Like, everything was kind of sitting on this.
It must have been deflating too. I know you're like strong, and I know you're resilient, and you're.
It was deflating, but also it was like everybody else, the whole world was deflated. So it was like you couldn't really beat yourself up. It's like, well, my shit isn't more important than anybody else or anybody else's responsibilities or things to do. So to me, it was more like, all right, got to just get by however everybody else gets by at this point. And it just became that mindset, which was good, because it made, well, first off, I had much more time. As I'd spent years just kind of traveling and touring with other people, doing my own things, but also being a part of other things, which doesn't leave a lot of time to create individual things or work on your own. So suddenly I had this big open window to write songs, and the availability, once everything kind of started socially back up, we Zoom wrote. So people that I would never really have time to kind of get together, all of a sudden everyone was Zoom writing. And, I just just from years of relationships, was able to just reach out to friends I had who were great writers too, and just start co-writing and be more religious at it. My first record, I think I wrote all but, I co-wrote one song, and there was a cover on that first record. So I wrote all the other ones, and it was mostly just because I didn't know where else to get a song. It's like, I need to make up some songs if I'm going to put out music. And so that process was, you have forever to put out and write for your first record.
That's right.
And then after that, I just kind of literally quadrupled down, going from writing, 20, 30 songs a year to like over 100. And really just start chipping away, like, oh wow, there was so much I didn't know, A, about myself musically, or B, about
You mean with Spirit, like when you sang with
writing. Yeah, well, even before that. I mean, I think the discipline to just start writing all the time religiously, instead of, touring and playing and being part of the projects, led to that.
Yeah.
With Spirit, because here I had all these new songs that hadn't been released yet, and all this time had kind of gone by, which led to, and I guess at that point there were, you kind of talked to a few different people, and there were some few options kind of popping up, but Spirit was the one I was like, man, this would be really cool. And with Frank Rogers and Derek Wells and Mike Fiorentino over there.
They love you.
And there's just a good crew, and like Frank is just a genius. Like, he's just such a musical genius and a music business genius. And to have somebody like that, more than anything, this town's full of people who are just chasing what everybody else is chasing.
Yeah.
And there's some people who just know what's good and bad. And I consider somebody Frank Rogers to know the difference in that. So when you sit down with somebody like that, and they're like, yeah, I'd like for you to work for me, that means a lot more than kind of anything else. It's like someone who is like, I get who you are, what you're trying to say, what you're doing, what you are saying and doing. And I'd like to help, share that more with the world. And it was just perfect timing, perfect fit. And then, shortly after that, kind of sit down, we're like, hey, I'd like to do a record with you, and who would you like to produce it? And I was like, well, I'm sitting in front of a hit producer. Like, I don't know like who else?
Were you like surprised when that happened? Because, you know, like you've been around the block, like you said, and people sometimes get a little you know, doubtful of a lot of things here in Nashville.
Yeah.
So were you almost like shocked that they like basically offered you that on the spot?
Yeah, 100% shocked. I mean, you just get kind of numb to it. And also, man, it's like I've never I don't hold it against anyone for not wanting to be like, oh, I got, yeah. To me, it's like it's all relationship building, and you're meeting new people, and a lot of these people make records with other people, so and write songs, and to me, it's always just about expanding your relationships and knowing more people and knowing more how things get done. So I've always looked at that kind of stuff like that, and never as a my world is over if this thing doesn't happen. But for some reason, I will say that day felt a little different, and
Where did you play it?
I played well, the songs I played for them that day were "Living to My Dying Day" and "Trailer Trash," which are both on the project.
Nervous? Like, how does that work, Adam, when you're like playing for them? Is it like, hey, just casual, just play for us?
Yeah, it's pretty casual. I've done that a few times. And like you said, you just get so numb to it.
Yeah.
You just kind of look like, and people are encouraging, so I don't feel like I've ever, maybe a couple times starting out, you walk into a room. The most unencouraging meetings I've had are when I haven't played for people. And it's just like, you just sit down, it's like me and you sitting here talking, and it's like, well, if you've not, I don't know how else to do what I do.
Jump shot.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Spirit was a little different. Having talked to a few publishers previously, for some reason, I just felt that I could send them different songs and more, and I just sent them a bunch more things that I hadn't probably sent anyone else. And it was just like throwing it at the walls. Like I have nothing to lose. Like for some reason, I felt more reserved to certain songs.
Yeah.
And some of those were, immediately put on hold by major artists that are still in develop to come out. So having all that kind of just hit out the gate.
Yeah.
And moments like that, moments like that are good. What do you call pillars or these monuments in your career or your time where you can feel like everything that led up, meant it to make a living or to get paid to write songs, kind of validates any
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
road dogging, long, sitting daydreaming, moments you've had in your life up to that point. It's an instant validation of like, yeah, I knew like I wasn't wasting time.
Yeah.
It was really for something.
Insane right now, dude. I mean, the way you can tell a story in 3-4 minutes is like nobody else, dude.
No, well, thanks, brother.
Dude, and I was obviously listening a lot to the EP, and I find that I was thinking, man, you never deviated from your sound. Like you're always authentic to your sound, and to someone out there, probably that means like obvious. But I've been reading this book about Spotify, the story of Spotify, and how it's kind of fucked up a lot of things for many artists. And a lot of artists, they started changing their sound based on data. Like they started saying like, oh shit, like this track that I was more poppy is getting more streams. Maybe I should kind of go in that direction.
Right.
You never did that. You and your wife, Brit Taylor. But was there ever any kind of temptation or anything to just maybe in the moments where you guys were plateau?
I don't think I know how to do anything other than what I do, for better or worse. So to me, it's just, I feel like my music is just a direct correlation, connection from my influences or just things that I've listened to.
Yeah.
And I suppose I just don't listen to that stuff that maybe you're referencing to even make it.
It's not even an option for you.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, there are a lot of producers in this town and writers who write songs based on metrics. And I don't subscribe to that at all.
Yeah.
And I don't fault anyone for subscribing to it. That's great. I just can't. That's just not something I do personally.
Good for you.
And at some point, I think you do realize that. And one thing about signing my first publishing deal kind of later into my 30s is that I've had a lot more time to figure out what I wanted to say as a writer and who I was. And it was really refreshing to kind of come to a deal. Like, we know, like, not trying to change you or develop you as a writer, just, make more connections and that kind of thing. So, I think you should, as a writer, always be developing and getting better and pulling things from other people. Writing songs with somebody else is just like a lesson. It's like many lessons. It's like every time I play a gig, I consider it also a lesson. Like, you learn something to be better about the next time you go up to bat to do it. Every record you put out, I listen to everything I've ever recorded with somebody else or myself, and you try to learn from that. Like, what did I like about this? What do I want to keep doing from this? And what do I want to change? How do I want to grow? I just try to look at everything more like that. So songwriting to me, every time I write with somebody new, whether we connect or not, I've learned something from it. And hopefully you got a really great song that will help you, write another really great song later.
How wonderful do you have to get Adam? Like let's say Adam Wright. Although Adam Wright is not the best example because you write a lot with. Let's say
Yeah,
someone that is newer, that there's not that much connection as Adam. Right. How open do you have to get? Because you know what I mean?
I guess as open as you want to be, or as open as the song requires you to be. And that can be many layers, but also sometimes there's just, you fit a different role in every room, like, you go into. And when I write with more than, one-on-one, if there's somebody else, sometimes you have the idea and more of the muse to what's coming in, and sometimes you're more of an editor.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, if I'm in a room and we're sitting down to write a song and everything is just fuming to you, like, I'm not going to get in the way of it. If it's happening, it's more editing. And if I'm writing with someone else who's like, I have this idea I want to put on a record, then I just try to help them chase that idea. And then sometimes it's like, you have it all, or you don't have it all. You have all but a few pieces, and somebody else needs to be that editor or help you find the missing pieces. So really, I think it's just more important to understand the role when you get into those situations. It's not much different than playing in a band. I mean, I've played in so many bands with people where it's, everyone knows the song, but we've never played together, but we're playing in, large capacity situations or whatever. And it's the same thing. Like, we all know what to do. Everybody's prepared for this moment, and we got to somehow, work together to get to the end result.
Yeah.
And you have the same level of vulnerability in that setting, honestly.
Dude, I love seeing you right now as an artist, because it's like seeing an artist, like a sports guy at its peak. It's like seeing like Joe Burrow in like 5 years or so. Like, it's like, obviously the guy's been in the system for a while. He knows the playbook. He knows his stadium. He knows the fans. Like, and you just see him like execute flawlessly. And I feel like with you, like, listening to the EP, it's like, it sounds flawless. You can hear Matty Aldridge drum. Like, you can just hear everything, dude. And it's because, like you said, and I think you've been on such a unique journey, dude, as an artist. And you have
Yeah.
experience, and you're putting it all together, and it's great,
Yeah. More of the scenic route for sure. Which,
But you've taken notes.
yeah, but I don't know any other way to do it. It's like, I feel like you just learn to get, your vulnerability opens up. And I feel like maybe that's a good way to look at it. I've just found out how to be more vulnerable and open with everything. And sometimes you leave people behind when that happens. Some people are, I didn't know you were going to go this direction. I didn't know you were going to be this vulnerable. You're the, like,
Yeah.
or they think of you in a very one dimension box. And it's like, I only want to think of you in this little box. And some people harp on that. I feel like it's easy to harp on that and be like, oh, wow, if I leave this box, then I'm going to lose all this. And I've just, I guess for better or worse, never felt that way. I've just, because what's the point? I mean, there's so many other things you could do in life. Music is, I have the best job in the world, and I love it every single day, but it is, the labor and you know, even
It sucks.
yeah, there's a lot. I still have a lot. I feel like I've got a lot more mountain to climb
Absolutely.
that I want to climb.
Sure.
But to get to even this bottom of the mountain, mid tier, whatever, it is. You know, you look back and you're like, wow, like
Well earned.
yeah, like you did some digging.
Firing on all cylinders, man. Like it's really fucking great to hear you.
Well, thanks, brother. Yeah.
Dude, it's just like damn. It's like I said, it's like seeing a high performing athlete right now. It's awesome, dude.
Well, I try to stretch.
Yeah.
You know,
Who produced AP?
Frank Rogers. So it was Frank Rogers, Derek Wells, Mike Fiorentino, and me are the list of
You've been producing a little bit.
list of the producers.
Was that yeah, a little hard, I guess. Like, is it hard like to give the baton away to another producer, like to let them coach you?
No, in this situation going into it, I knew that was what I wanted to do. I just wanted, you know, I mean, the band on the record is just a dream
Do they tell
situation.
you like, if I sign up to this, you have to kind of like let me guide the ship?
No, that was never the situation at all. I mean, it was I'm so fortunate to work with people that know so much, but also leaned on me and whatever I wanted to do and very much let me be an artist. And I don't, I don't listen to that record and not think that my vision wasn't fulfilled or thought out the way I wanted it to.
Sure.
Anything that else was added or changed was just bonuses that I'm just so fortunate. It's like, you know, ideas that made everything better. And another key piece to that project is working with Jason Lenning, who recorded, engineered and mixed the project. And Jason, yeah, is just a genius and a legend in his town. And it was so great working with him because he just nailed every sonic reference I kind of had for that project.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to me, it's just you're just trying to create. I don't want to sound like anybody else, so you're trying to sound like your own thing. But you also want to sound a way that people are attuned to hearing it.
Yeah.
And he just nailed that on every.
There's no one that sounds like you. I think your unique skill, and the way that you kind of bring mainstream America and people that maybe didn't grow up in Kentucky or didn't see the things that you saw, and you're able to package them in a funny and relatable, entertaining way. It's like I don't think anyone. It's incredible, you know.
Well, cool, man. I mean, I try to make music that no matter how long it takes to come out, it's like I know nothing else is going to sound. I'm never worried that somebody's going to beat you to some sound. It's like the time it takes to release it is what it is. And you know, there's the song on there, the first single that came out, it's called "A Little Bit at a Time," and I couldn't think of a more appropriate song title or single to release. Is just you know, writing that song was you know, during the COVID, you know, kind of time off, and was really just able to. I wouldn't have been able to write that song otherwise because I didn't feel like it was a little bit at a time up until that moment. It seemed like it was like like everything's taken forever.
Sure.
But then you realize like, no, it's not. It's all unraveling as it should. And you're gaining the knowledge to truly do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I don't realize how much I wasn't prepared for something when I thought I was until I got there for it.
Interesting. Okay.
And that's a lesson I hope that I keep learning stronger and can,
Yeah.
you know.
Also, your voice right now, like you would agree that your voice is sounding as good as ever, right?
I mean, I don't know. I
feel like
I appreciate that.
yeah. Are you? Yeah. Have you like? Are you like? How do you take care of it? I just feel like it's really powerful.
Man, I don't I try to think of it nowadays just like I do talking.
Or do you just now like?
I don't really harp. You know, haven't having more vocal pedigree kind of like decades ago, like training and singing choirs and stuff. There's like a lot of framework, great information from that, but I don't try to like really harp on any of those things. You know, clearly you try to warm up and take care of yourself if you're sick or feeling, you know, all the things that singers do. And I try not to talk too much after shows or before shows if I know I have a you know, a batch of things coming. I really have to think. If I'm tracking vocals, I think of things a little differently too.
Yeah.
But also, I don't try to harp. I just try to sound like what my heart feels, and maybe that's not flawless vocal execution all the time, but
It's authentic.
yeah, I just feel like people want to hear heart more, and I just try to do that, whatever comes
It's
out.
amazing. Let me ask you about a couple songs. Die for Moses. I feel like
It's an interesting one.
we haven't talked about that enough. That
Yeah.
jam, dude.
Thank you, brother.
Shit. Tell me the story of that song. Like,
Well,
and the way you captured it was pretty badass. You write that one down, right?
I wrote that song with Bobby Hamrick. That was actually Bobby Hamrick's an incredible songwriter and artist, one of my favorite singers. You know, I wish Bobby had stacks of records so I could sit around and listen to him. Like, he's truly an artist of his own, and he's, you know, wrote tons of songs for lots of people, but he also writes at Spirit Music, and I was excited to write with him in general, and we wrote that song the first day we met. Like, that was the first song we ever wrote together. Yeah, and we have some other stuff kind of in the can for other things here and there that I'm really excited about too. But Bobby is just one of the best songwriters I've ever been around. He's just he can be all the things too. He can be an editor, he can be a muse, and he's a great producer. So he I think I had a different title, a different 3-word title that mentioned maybe a biblical character, and we just kind of kept turning it around till we got to the title Dive Bar Moses somehow. And it all just came out line by line. Like, we just back and forth that entire thing and finished it really fast. And it, you know,
What is that feeling like when you're like in that group?
well, it's a great feeling, especially when you just met someone and you're like, oh wow, we have the same.
It's cracking up.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Kinda. I mean, sometimes you're like, wow, is really profound? Because sometimes things seem so simple. I think the key for all songwriters, especially country songs, is stating the obvious in the most interesting way as possible. But there's thousands of people who've done that. Every song concept you can think about the heart, between relationships between people, drinking beer, getting cheated on, cheating on people, all that has been said a gajillion times. So to find an interesting perspective, I'm just, you know, really try to pinpoint on the corners of the room that no one has looked at for a while, where there might be a spider web or a little bit of dust hanging out, or some, you know, interesting characters like Dive Bar Moses.
This is amazing, dude.
Because he's just like clearly a fictional character, but not, because I feel like we've all seen that's a very American character that you would see at kind of any VFW dive bar, the entire island of Key West.
Yeah.
Like, those creatures, people just exist, and good-hearted people. And I think the whole thing is about community and finding someone who tries to find the good in everything and is living life the best they can with their friends, and that's what that song's about.
Dude, I think you're gonna play a song for us, but let me ask you about Trailer Trash, the song, and also I'm curious if like a song like that ever is just born. Obviously, you're married to a very talented singer-songwriter called Britt Taylor. So the creativity in your household, I would imagine, is off the chart sometimes. Are songs ever born like that part in Trailer Trash when you just bring monotone and you're like Trailer Trash, you know, like how does a moment of does that ever happen? Like, do you test it with Brit and she'll crack off like
Yeah, I'm sure there's everything, every situation. That particular vocal recitation verse, kind of happened after that song was written. I think I might have been playing a ride around, or was playing it somewhere, and I just started adding that in, and I just kind of ad-libbed it forever until it became like a solid
I think
feature.
or you playing that song without it.
Yeah, probably.
You know? Yeah.
That's just something that kind of just, you know,
Amazing.
this happened over time. It was like, you know, we got enough solos on this record. Like, we just do something weird and tip a hat to the classics.
One of my most enjoyable things in Nashville is seeing you perform when people haven't seen you perform. And I just like to look at them when you start singing.
Oh, thanks, dude.
You know, it's like they're like, holy shit, he's one of the best voices I've ever fucking heard.
Oh,
So yeah,
I appreciate you, man.
dude, thanks, man. I mean, we're super stoked that you're back. You know, obviously we're butts off camera, but this is long overdue, man. I mean, like I said, people love your voice, people, your talent, and you as a human, man. So, man, I think this is gonna be a nice little chapter for you, man.
Well, thanks, brother. I'm excited to keep putting music out and to have a few things kind of planned and ready to go. We've got a pretty cool.
Yeah, what can you say?
Well, I mean, first thing I'm really excited about is May 16th album release show at the Basement.
Right.
So really looking forward to that. Going to be some special stuff there. And just, putting some stuff together, still recording and writing, and keep on the lookout for more dates that are about to come in. So excited to be touring and playing again and playing songs for people and just releasing music again, and it feels good.
Right now you're like 2013 LeBron or like 96 Jordan. It's just the way everything is clicking, man. It's awesome, dude. So,
That means a lot, man.
yeah, man. Thanks for coming, dude.
Thanks for having me. Yeah,
Love that, dude.
let's do it. I'm Adam Chaffins, and this is Living to My Dying Day. Spent most of my 20s just trying to get laid. Made it to my 30s, now I wanna get paid. Had a hell of a time trying to act my age. Just trying to keep living till my dying day. I got a chip on my shoulder size of Tennessee, but I'm tired of blaming everybody but me. Hey honey, can you help me roll this stone away? Yeah, I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. I'm rolling on like a river to the ocean, loving with my arms wide open. Won't live forever, but I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. I try to exercise a little, cut back on the beers. Hospital ain't where I want to spend my last years, and it's hard for a country boy to get a cold pay. Yeah, I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. I'm rolling on like a river to the ocean, loving with my arms wide open. Won't live forever, but I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. Trying to keep living till my dying day. And when my spirit takes off from my bones, don't prop me up at Wilson's funeral home. Let me fly like a bird set free from a cage. Yeah, I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. I'm rolling on like a river to the ocean, loving with my arms wide open. Won't live forever, but I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. I'm rolling on like a river to the ocean, loving with my arms wide open. Won't live forever, but I'm trying to keep living till my dying day. Trying to keep living till my dying day. Trying to keep living till my dying day.
Thank you for tuning in. Click here to subscribe and get the latest from the show, including exclusive behind-the-scenes footage and once-in-a-lifetime performances. And as always, thank you for making J-Rock Concerts Media part of your day.